You're listening to the Mindset School Podcast, episode 20. Today on the Mindset School Podcast, we hear from Christine Swartz, an inspiring entrepreneur and mother of four. Christine's entrepreneurial journey began when she started a membership called the RV Mama of Four, inspired by her own experience traveling with her children in an RV. She embraced discomfort to grow and learn from the RV world, reaping the benefits that came with it. Her dedication to her children and the freedom of travel that transformed her life. In our conversation, Christine shares her mindset journey, the importance of mindset, how Christian faith has positively impacted her personal life. Don't miss out on Christine's story of overcoming obstacles and giving glory only to God. Hey friends, welcome to the Mindset School Podcast with Peggy Easterling, where we learn to smile authentically from the inside out. Hello, Christine. It is so good to see you today.
Hi, Peggy. I'm so excited to see you too. It always makes me happy to see you. Your smile and you're so sweet and your love for Jesus. It's a joy to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I feel the same way. And we're matching today. We both have on yellow.
And we didn't even plan it, you guys. This is like high school. What? You come in with almost the same outfit, right? Well, I actually wore this shirt special for you, Peggy. I always wear an RV shirt because I'm the RV mama of four. So I don't feel like I normally dress up that much because I want people to know what it's like when you're actually on the road RV. But in your latest summit that you did, one of the things you said that touched me so much was you started out the summit by saying, you're in the right place if you agree to these things and if you feel this way that I'm feeling. And you just talked about how you are undeniably a Christian and that people are in the right place if they also agree with that and that they want God to really touch them and their lives. And so this morning when I was getting dressed, it's the first time I've been on a podcast I haven't worn an RV shirt, and it says made to worship. Because when I think of you, that's what I think of. And look, here we are, both wearing yellow together.
Oh, so sweet. Love it. Love it. Oh, Christine, we're in this space together, guys. We're in this space where we are learning online business. And Christine blessed my heart over and over and over. Her sentiments towards me right now bless me, but she blesses everyone in that group every single day. So I can't wait for you to get to know Christine. Christine, tell them just a little bit about you and how you got started on this journey, and tell everyone a little bit about your story and yourself.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for saying that, because I feel like since I joined Flip Lifestyle, God has put a calling on my life to serve other people. I feel like before I joined Flip Lifestyle, which has only been since November, I really looked after myself and my family. And that was about it. You know, I cared about other people and everybody else. But since I joined Flip Lifestyle, I feel like God has really said, no, my calling for you is bigger than that. You need to serve other people wherever they're at, whatever niche they're at, whether you have something in common or not, because we all do. And the more we talk, the more we find out that we do. And so ever since I've really dove deep into that calling, God has blessed me immensely, like beyond what I deserve, beyond, beyond, beyond. I'm floored every day where I feel like I just need to go to church and fall on my knees because I'm like, this is so undeserving. And so the way I started was 8.5 years ago. My sister called and she said, I'm getting an RV. And I thought, oh, okay, that's an interesting thought. You know how sisters are. You kind of have a little competitive rivalry going on, and I'm like, well, what's she going to do with an RV? And she said, I really want to go to my kids' sports. They did a lot of dirt biking and it's hot. You know, it's just not fun to hang out in between. And we had dance and baseball. So I thought, well, we could get an RV and we could do the same thing. So I told my husband and he was like, oh gosh, okay, whatever. He grew up in hotels. And so I grew up camping in a tent with my sister and family. So it was a little more my thing. But we got that RV. And we call it Breakdown Betsy. The first year, I was not near as brave as I am now. So We lived in Texas, which that's why I still consider myself a Texan. I love all my Texas girl. And we were in Houston, and Mike would drive my RV up to Lake Conroe every single month, at least once a week. And he would set up the RV and get us all ready and unhook the expedition, and then he would go home. He just didn't like camping. It wasn't his thing. And he would always be like, oh, I have to work and, whatever. So after about 9 months of this, I thought, this is so not fair to him. It just isn't fair. Like, I need to put on my big girl panties and I'm going to do this. It was scary. So I tried it when we were leaving the dealer and I just started screaming. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. The brakes don't stop. Like, what am I doing? So that was how Mike had started doing it initially. And so for Mother's Day, I'll never forget, especially because we're coming up on Mother's Day again. And he made me 4 laminated pages. And it was how to hook up your trailer, how to unhook up your trailer, how to set up your trailer, and how to tear down campsite. And he gave it to me laminated with pictures. So it was like all the steps with pictures. And I still have it to this day. I don't use it anymore. He just found it on one of our old computers. But I carried it around. I always called it my Bible of camping. I kept my real Bible on the nightstand. And that was my camping Bible that I kept in my storage unit. And that summer, I thought, we are going to leave Texas. We are going to go chase my daughter's scholarships. And so for the whole summer, we went to California, Las Vegas, Utah, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. Everything. I ended up buying a new truck in Nevada, and we were stranded there for 2 weeks because my new truck just died. They sold me a truck that wasn't strong enough to pull my RV. And so many stories we could write about. But God was faithful. We say that we have camping angels. If you ask my kid about the camping angels, they'll tell you because he took care of us, our truck, everything that you could imagine. He had somebody step in at the right time. And instead of, floundering or saying, I'm never doing this again, I dug deep. I used some of your mindset skills and really just thought, you know what? I could back down because of fear, because everything went wrong, or I could just dive in and make memories with these kids and enjoy the journey. So in August, every one of them wrote stories about how crazy I was, the camel safari, how we had to get in this car with this guy that had a shotgun on the floor, you name it. We have a story for it. That's what launched my business. I learned the hard way. Everything I learned was because I learned because it went wrong. And now we've had some pretty smooth RVing. Things still go wrong, but I'm in a totally different mindset than that first summer. And so that's what I hope to share with your people and everybody that's watching.
I love your passion for RVing. It's so beautiful to just see someone right where they're supposed to be in their journey. And because of their passion, it's exactly what they're meant to do. And I see that with you. I see that passion within you. You talked about getting wrecked in your RV, like everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. But a few weeks ago, you talked in one of our groups and you talked about getting wrecked by God. And you talked about how God wrecks you and how at church, when you show up every single week, that he wrecks your heart. Do you mind sharing just a little bit?
And so when we went to Texas, we went to a huge church, Sugar Creek Baptist in Houston, and it was amazing. It was right where God wanted us to be. My kids had started out at that school before we started homeschooling. That really was a feeder school into that church. And it was an exciting thing to do on Sunday. Everybody looked forward to going to church. When we moved to Colorado, it took me 3 years to get back to that point. We tried every church imaginable, and they just don't have mega churches in Colorado. It's not really a thing where we live. And so we tried small churches and rural churches and different denominations. And I really wanted my kids to have that memory. Like when I grew up, people would say, oh, you guys are the ones that always go to church. It wasn't so fun when I was growing up for people to say that. But now looking back, I thought, what a testimony to my parents that that's how other people viewed us. That's something to be proud of now. And so I really wanted that for my kids, and I wasn't giving it. Church was really something I was checking off my list of I want this for my family and my kids. And then I'd just be sitting there thinking about when I could go in a coffee break. It wasn't fitting. The youth groups weren't fitting. And so I was just really pouring my heart out to God. I'm like, God, I know that you want us to be at church. Can you please find us a church where we feel we want to be there every Sunday and it's not just a box we're checking off. And it turns out it's one street over, literally one street over. And I don't know why we hadn't tried this church. And my dad said, hey, have you guys tried this church? And I was like, no, we haven't. And so we went. And honestly, I know this is going to sound weird, but the pastor is the biggest sinner in the church. So when I went, and heard his testimony, I was like, this is the place. Anybody can come to this church and feel like you're welcome. And like, if the pastor can share the stories of what he has done and what he has been through and what he's even felt like as a pastor, we can all come and learn from him, And so every single week now, I look forward to going. I'm excited to bring my kids. And we had a story that really feeds into that this weekend. So I'm not living up to my parents' standard because times have changed somewhere. Like we all got dressed up. It was like a set thing. We set our alarms. We went to church. Sports these days are really difficult. We have baseball tournaments that go through church. We have dance tournaments that go through. But I just take whatever kid is free. And so we had hockey practice at 6 a.m. My husband took my son up to baseball at 10. My daughter drove herself to dance. And I told Dylan, I said, we're going to church after. I know you're going to be tired, but we're going to church. And I thought we were going to have time to go back and change, and we didn't. So I think I fell asleep in my clothes the night before. I looked a hot mess, but I thought, it's okay. We'll sit in the back. Our church is dark. I'm so excited. We'll see what God has for us. So we go in, and it turns out to be baptism Sunday. And I'm like, this is great. Look at all these people getting baptized. They had like almost like a pool. It was like literally a pool in the front. I was so far back, I couldn't even see the pool. I'm like asking Dylan, is this live? He's like, yeah, man, you just can't see it because we're in the back. I'm like, good, we're in the back. I look terrible. And he turns to me and they do an open baptism call. Peggy, I have never been to an open baptism call in all my life. Usually you have to tell them you want to do it. You have to bring clothes. It's like everybody dresses up. You invite your family. And I just look at Dylan and he goes, Mom, I want to do it. I'm like, do what? Get coffee? You can tell I'm always saying about coffee. He's like, no. He's like, I want to get baptized right now. And I was just thinking about my outfit. I'm like, oh, and then you know what? I'm like, God doesn't care about my outfit. The church is looking at Dylan. They don't care about me and my ridiculous clothes I slept in. And so I thought, this is it. We're doing life messy, right? When God calls, we show up. So it did not matter this crazy outfit that I'm wearing. And we went out. They even had clothes lined up for anybody that decided to do the open baptism call. Dylan was so excited. I called Mike. He had to pull over on the side of the road to like watch it live stream. I was the only one there, Peggy. This is not how I envisioned it going down. But all Dylan could talk about, he had this shirt on the back and it just said, decided. He was already a Christian, but he decided that God was leading him. And all day long, he's like, Mom, this is the best shirt. He goes, I know that's what God wanted me to do. I was so nervous, but he said, when I got in that pool with the pastor, he goes, all my fears just melted away and Jesus was there. Can you imagine if I'd been worried about my shirt and said, no, Dylan, let's wait till we can schedule it. Let's wait till we can bring people. Let's wait till we can have the lunch after. Because you know how it is, like in Texas, when we did it with my other kids, it's a grand event. Nope. We did it. We did it messy. We showed up. I even took a picture of my sweatshirt. And I feel like that's where God is calling us now. And I see that in your life and your business and everything that you offer to, although you always look fabulous. I always tell Peggy that her hair and makeup and everything are adorable. She doesn't do like messy as I do. It's how we look. But I know that she has that for you guys too, that it doesn't matter where you're at. It's just show up. God will meet you there.
And apply that to life, with mindset in general. How many times, just because we feel unprepared, do we not take that next step? And in that moment, he was offering himself that next step of that decision, but he could have limited himself as well. My family's not here. I don't have this. I don't have that. But the willingness to make the decision and the decision to get baptized is so important, so important. And he didn't limit himself just because of other things in his life. I really just want to give space for myself and the audience to just take that in. I mean, wow. What in our own lives are we just not saying yes? And the opportunity is right there. It's just right there in front of us. Wow. Well, you've taken advantage of some major opportunities recently that have kind of come across your path, and you've made huge decisions. And I'm so excited to see your future. I'm so excited to see where God takes us. But you've taken some huge steps of faith yourself. Do you mind sharing some steps you've taken in your business recently?
Yes. So the RV Mama of Four came about, like I shared, because my husband doesn't really like to camp. And Peggy, this has truly shaped our lives. Like I've taken the kids from coast to coast, from Colorado to California. Last summer, I drove them to the Outer Banks, up and down the East Coast. The memories that I've created with these kids, I just cherish so much. It's the same reason why I homeschool, because I want to be so present for them that I don't want to miss a moment. It is not all joy and roses. There's yelling to do your math. And, every day I'm praying for grace and patience, grace and patience. But God has just blessed us immensely to be able to do this. And I just want your viewers to know, if you have this dream of getting out, whether it be in an RV or camping or traveling or whatever it may be, don't let fear hold you back. Every time I see you, and even the name Mindset School, everything that I do is so much about mindset. We're so much in line with our mission and our vision, because you can't let fear hold you back. And it will try at every corner. Some people don't like bears and they're worried about that. Some people say, well, I can't tow, I can't drive. Yes, you can. I promise you guys, I have nothing special. The first time I tried, I literally was like, screaming, like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. But with time and practice and resources, you can totally do it. So if you have that dream and that vision, work with Peggy, because she will help you with your mindset. She's very calm and collected. The opposite of me. I'm not calm or collected. But I love everything that Peggy has to offer. And I feel like we both are on the same track with mindset of recognizing how important it is. So the big thing that Peggy's talking about is we are actually going to be selling our house and going full-time RVing in June. I just bought a brand new truck and a brand new trailer 2 days apart from each other last week. And it was a total God thing. There was no truck to be had. We had looked everywhere. They said I was going to have to order and wait until August. So I'd have this brand new RV sitting here since April. And I dropped my kids off at chess club. I'd made a wrong turn. Was like, the kids are mad at me. I'm mad at myself. I've gone to chess 1,000 times. Why did I make a wrong turn? And all of a sudden there's this Dodge dealer that I was like, oh, that's right next to chess. And I have a Dodge. And so I went in and I told them, I'm working with somebody else. Don't try to sell me anything. I just want to check out the back seat of one of these trucks. And he goes, I told him I was looking for, he goes, oh, you mean the one we have up front? And I'm like, no, I know you don't have one out front. I was just on the website and talking with the general manager of another Dodge dealer. There's none. And he's like, no, the deal just fell through like an hour ago. The guy put down $1,000. It fell through. We haven't even listed it yet. Peggy, I walk out. It was even down to the color. And I literally said to him, look, I have to pick up my kids from chess in 45 minutes. I was like, if you give me this exact deal that I was getting from a different dealership, which was like $12,000 off, this one was even more because it had even more. It was like the sport version and had even more leather seats and all this stuff. I didn't care. I was like, you need to give me the same deal. I'll buy it. I didn't even ask my husband. I'm like texting him. I'm like, honey, I found the right one. But he's okay with that. He knows my name. And it was such a God moment. I ended up buying that truck. And these guys treated me amazing. 2 days later, I went and bought my fifth wheel, and we're going all in on June. And Peggy, we don't have the pieces worked out. I was messaging my husband this morning. I'm like, the kids have no room for a dresser. I might have to give up that blue washer and dryer that they just ordered for me. I was like, washer and dryer or dresser? Like literally, they have no room for a dresser. Like we might need to do our laundry at the campground and let them have that space so that it's not, too crazy for them. Just all these things. But God just keeps opening doors, opening doors. Like I have another quick story to tell. On Thursday, I'm going to this conference and the CEO of Camping World is hosting a Q&A luncheon. It's $600 to go to the lunch. I didn't have $600. I just bought a truck and a trailer. I'm like, I don't even have like $20 till the next paycheck, And so I just reached out to them and I said, this is my mission. This is my passion. I want to meet him. It is a dream of mine because I can serve his people. I can teach women that they can get out there in RV if they have the right mindset to do it. And their influencer department wrote me back with my 100 YouTube subscribers, because I just started, and said, we're paying for your ticket. It'll be waiting for you at the front desk. If that's not God, Peggy, I don't know what is. Like, I'm so undeserved and blown away. So I don't have all the pieces worked out. Is this going to be crazy that we're moving in and I have a 4,200 square foot house? What? Yes, it is. But God works out the details. If we have the right mindset and set aside fear, he will meet us where we are at.
Amen. And I remember a moment where you were dealing with your own fear because you were comparing yourself, and you reached out and you were comparing yourself, and you were dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome. You had just paid for that truck and you're like, Okay, God's wrecking me. I don't deserve this. I'm unwilling. Tell me a little bit about that and like how did you move forward from that? And what is your process of allowing yourself to sit in that space?
So I always say I give myself 10 minutes. That's just kind of my cliche line because I'm always on the move with homeschooling 4 kids and they're all heavily involved in activities and then the new business and camping and all the things. I don't have time to dwell in negativity. And I just don't like that space. I don't like that emotional negativity. And so, but I recognize that we have to allow ourselves to feel it. Like we're human. You get in an argument with your spouse or your kids, or you say something that you shouldn't say, or you offend somebody, or you're just hurt, and you're like, God, why are you allowing this? You have to allow yourself to be in that space to feel those emotions, but you can't stay in it because that's what's going to lead to anxiety and depression and fear and all the things that God doesn't want for us. Yes, those are real things. And, so many times we're faced with that right in front of us. Are we going to allow ourselves to stay there or are we going to walk out in faith? And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that at all. But for me, it's actually one of the gifts that God has given me. And I didn't know that till I talked to so many other people, including in my own family, where I just say, okay, God, this is where I'm at. I need you because this is my 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes an hour, but I need you to get me out of this because I have people counting on me. And I can't be in this space and serve your people and do what you want me to do if I live in any of these things, fear, anxiety, or depression. And Peggy, he has met me where I'm at. And that could change at some time in the future. But for now, he just meets me over and over and over and gives me that 10 minutes to feel what I'm feeling. Like you said, comparing yourself and he'll show me the way out. The 2 people that I was comparing myself to in my YouTube world, they did a live Q&A on Sunday with all their viewers. And I jumped on and I asked a question. And it was basically like, how did you get started? And how did you do this? And they said, 10 years ago, when we got started. And now we have a YouTube editor and they like flashed to him and a Facebook editor. And I was just sitting there thinking, I've been doing it 3 months and I'm comparing myself to people with 10 years. And I caught myself doing it again. Same thing. These people that literally post a YouTube a day. And I'm like, how do they do it? How do they do it? And I started to get down and God just, on YouTube is things pop up, but I still believe that God popped this up on my YouTube because it popped up and it said 7 things that, you should know about our real life. And it was like, this is what it's like behind the scenes. The 7 years we've been doing this. And now we get all these free things and we have a video editor. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. That's what I needed to know. They haven't been doing it 3 months. So I just feel like your ministry is so needed right now, Peggy. I feel like mindset is the number one thing that holds people back. It what holds them back from RVing. It holds them back from moving forward from trauma. It holds them back from experiencing what God has for them. Like you said, they could be one step away and they're just afraid to do it. But that's what you do so well is you teach people. That's not what God has planned for you. Take that step. Take that step of faith. Give yourself the time to feel it and then move on.
Yeah, so there's this thing called the Kubler-Ross curve, and it looks like a roller coaster. So you start here and then you go down and you come back up. And on the way back up is your decision. And so if you can go past the anxiety, the fear and all of the things, and then you get down to where depression could live, and then you go back up here and you can get to the decision. It sounds like you get to that decision so fast. Do the emotions come? Because most people go through that curve naturally. That's the process. Do those emotions come? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, for sure. I have my moments where for example, I have opportunities to work with people like there's an RV dealer and they want to work with me for marketing. He owns 7 dealers. He's the owner of the company, he and his grandpa. And I'm being told time and time again, wait, you're not there yet. You have less than 100 YouTube subscribers. You just started. Wait. But I just feel this calling, Peggy, so much that God is like, don't wait, don't wait. And so I just have this internal struggle of like, these people are making all the money. I need to do what they're saying. But that's the piece I love of it. I love people. I love letting people know that like, don't wait to make memories because you're afraid. Don't wait because of money. My first trailer was $16,000. We called it Breakdown Betsy. and I paid $150 a month. Most people can find $150 a month in their budget that they can cut something out. For us, it was like dinner out for six. Cut that out one time a month and we can make that RV payment. And it has made all the difference in the world. So I do feel this past weekend, I was so emotional. I had to boxer one of our coaches and I was just like, I'm falling apart over here and I don't like this feeling. I don't like it. I'm not used to it. I don't like crying. I don't like the emotion. I don't like this negativity. Like, get me out of this state. And he boxered me back and he said, first of all, it's okay to feel that way. We all feel that way. But he said, if God is calling you, God is bigger than every one of your coaches. He said, there are different ways to get to where they're all at. Yes, you might take a little bit different path. It might take you a little bit longer because you want to invest in all these other things that isn't necessarily the straight path to success. It's the path that God's called you to be on. And so when I got that $600 ticket, and then last night I went into my Dodge dealer, I don't even know what I went in for. And the sales guy came running up to me and he said, I want you to know that my general manager reached out to me this morning. And he told me that you wrote the best review they've ever seen at this dealership. And it was about him, the sales guy and the finance guy and the sales manager. And he said, he wants me to give you a free tank of gas. And thank you, Jesus, that was on empty. So I got $125 of free gas. And he gave me a trailer hitch. Again, they know that I have 100 followers on my YouTube channel, but I have a passion and a heart for following God and serving God. And I will not worry about the details. My members will find me because I want to help them and serve them. And I want them to create memories and a legacy and not to wait because you don't know what's around the corner. So am I rolling in the dough right now? No, but I'm doing what God's called because I just started and he will work out those pieces. He will bring the members that need to be there. He'll bring them at the right dollar amount. And whatever that may be, I can't get wrapped up in that. I can't worry about it. I just have to keep taking action and taking steps. But yes, I do. Like this weekend when I got that acknowledgement from one of the coaches where he said, he didn't even say it in these words, but he was allowing me the freedom to step outside of the box a little. And I didn't think I had that. I'm like, no, I have to follow the exact path. I have to follow this path if I'm going to be successful. And he's like, no, you don't. You go take your path. You follow it as best you can. And then you go do what God's calling you. And I was just like, thank you. So it set me free. And I had 2 new members this week. This was just Monday. Was today Tuesday? And $775 of free stuff yesterday. And then I just felt again, like drawn to my knees, like, God, I am so unworthy. I yell at my kids too much. I expect too much from people in my family but he met me where I'm at. And he just said, of course you don't deserve it. I don't give you grace because you deserve it.
You said you got permission to go on a new path. And that reminded me of a picture you shared recently of your son's diploma. And it had a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson on it. Do you mind sharing a little story about that?
I do. And I have it right here.
Awesome.
I wanted to share it. And so it says on it. So I homeschool my son, but he also goes to this amazing program called Artios. There's only 3 in the whole country. And a homeschool mom started it and God has blessed that program. It has blown up. They actually just bought their own building. It is for kids that really want to excel in fine arts. And so he has learned directing, editing, photography, set design, costume design. I travel around the country with him, usually in my RV. If we have to fly, we do. Going to Christian film festivals. And these people have just poured into him. He has met the Kendrick brothers that did Fireproof and Courageous. He's actually just won first place in a documentary at their film festival. And talk about mindset, Peggy. He walked up to them and said, is there any way that I can work for you for free? I'll be your intern. I'll do whatever it takes. I want to do what you do. So the Kendrick brothers know him, it's crazy. And we've just traveled all across. He's won multiple awards at Christian colleges, at Christian film festivals. But as a result, because it's still a conservatory fine arts, they do all of that at school. And then he does his other subjects at home. I was honored to be able to create his own diploma. And I didn't know how special it would be until I sat down to do it. And I got the cheaper version. You can even get even better. But I got to choose on the front what I wanted. And I chose to God alone be the glory. Because to be able to homeschool through high school is not easy. And I will say Artios took a huge part of that once he hit 9th grade because I couldn't teach all these film classes. He's literally going straight into the film world and has a paid acting job the day after school. So It is truly to God alone be the glory. And then on the inside, okay, I'm going to block my face. I think you can see this. On the inside, the name of our school is ABCD Prep. It stands for my kids' names. And right below that, I put, and they came up with it actually, because it's not even in order. I'm not that organized. I didn't come up with it before they were born. But Amanda, Brandon, Kate, and Dylan, pursuing excellence in godliness. Again, I just cannot take any credit for this. I'm so unworthy that I have a kid that's graduating from a homeschool program. And the quote that I chose is, do not follow where the path leads, rather go where there is no path and leave a trail. And I felt like not only was this Brandon's calling on life, he's not going into college right now. His film teacher said, Brandon, you don't need it. Like in film school, you go to college to meet people, and we have networked so much. He's like a mini me. He loves people. He'll go into any room and meet everyone there is to know and come home with 50 new friends. We just love people. And so they said, you just go out into the film world and you try to make a difference in the world. So that's what he's going to do. So not only are we leaving our house in June, he's graduating in a week, has no path set forward other than take steps in faith. Take steps in faith. So his diploma is special to me. I haven't signed it yet. It's still empty, administrator, because again, I feel so unworthy to sign it. But I'm grateful that God has opened this door, and that Brandon has only ever been to Christian school and homeschool. And I don't know where his path will lead. I took a very traditional path. My husband and I both went to law schools, and my kids are not taking after us. One dances and one's in film, and the other two will get to see. But God is there right ahead of us, Peggy. Like you said earlier, take that leap of faith.
Yeah. So you said I'm not worthy. There's nothing that we can do to be worthy. At what point could we ever be worthy other than Christ is in you, Christine, so you're worthy?
Mm.
The Christ in you is worthy. So that makes you worthy. Yeah. Wow.
That gives me chills, Peggy, because that gives me emotions every day when I get blessings and I feel like you look around at other people and we all go through stages of struggle. I've been there, when my husband lost his job years ago, or just all these different things, and other people are in that moment now. And you think, God, how do I talk about my blessings when other people are in the pit, in the valley, and they're not at the peak? But I feel like that's why God says, do this life together and in community, because when we're at our high, we have enough to overflow into them, that God will get you out of this, that God is there with you, that he will meet you where you're at, that this is temporary. And then when we're in that, those people hopefully are at a higher stage where they can pour into us. And it's been the number one thing that I never knew that a community offered. I didn't even know what a community was. I was going to get into Flip Lifestyle, listen to all the classes and get out. I didn't even know what a community was. And God had work to do in me, because that is where I really started feeling his mission, where he was like, you need to serve bigger, not just your family and your friends. I have bigger plans for you, a bigger need for you. And I know he's calling you to do the same thing, Peggy, because when you get on these calls, she always has words of wisdom. She's always calm and collected and beautiful. And she just has so much to pour into people, and so much thought and insight and wisdom. And it's why I'm so drawn to you. I just really adore what you're doing. And I hope that your listeners know that if they need help in this regard, you are an amazing coach. And if they want to go RVing, they can come find me. But honestly, no, I really want your listeners to know that, because what you offer to them is truly a gift of God. And he has truly allowed your life and your path and your low points that you had to experience that you didn't want to be in. If they listen to your summit, that's not where you wanted to be. But God is using you now. We're grateful for you.
Thank you so much. The reason that I look so cool, calm, and collected is because you can't see sweat over Zoom. So whenever I do it sweaty, when I say that often, do it sweaty, because you have to, in the midst of that uncomfortable feeling, you have to take action anyway. You have to be willing to plow through that feeling and sit with it and know it exists, but I'm still going to move towards the next thing. And you, with our online business community, you are a huge example to all of us. And being that example of taking action in the midst of whatever, you can go through your highs and your lows, that roller coaster we talked about earlier. You can go through that process of just living life and be an example. Don't be afraid to share your highs. Don't be afraid to hug someone, console them, and love them during their lows. But yet, if you're not moving towards God's purpose for your life because you are afraid, take the next step, whatever it is. And you exemplify that so well. And I know your RVing community is going to be so blessed by it. So tell my listeners the very best way to get in touch with Christine of the RV Mama of Four.
So I have the same name pretty much across all social media. So if you go to www.rvmamaof and then the number 4.com, you'll be able to find me. And that's the same on my social media, RV Mama, but it's MAMAOF, the number 4. And I have a YouTube channel and Facebook is where I'm most active in my website. And I would love to talk with you. If you have any RV questions, if you have a dream, you don't have to RV solo with your kids like I am. You could RV with a significant other, with your kids, alone, whatever age or stage you're at in your journey, it's possible. I am nothing special. I know that you can do it, and I would be happy to help you. And I'm so grateful to be on this podcast with you, Peggy, because you are such a blessing to others. You offer so much, and I just hope that your listeners can see how awesome you are and the God-given talents that He's given you to do this.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Christine. It has been an absolute pleasure. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss an episode. If you like what you heard, I'd love to know. Leave us a review and share with a friend that could use an overcoming story so they can move closer to their purpose for their lives by renewing their mind the way God intended. Hey friends, thank you for listening. You're now done with step 1 of growing together at the Mindset School. Head over to themindset.school.net and grab my free download where I share 5 tips when you can't hold it together anymore and continue your journey to smiling authentically from the inside out.